Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Technology.His. I'm your host, XO. And on this episode, I got an interview for y'all. Yeah. I got an interview for y'all with my good friend, Ron Curtis. He's out there in DMV, and he's the CEO of Wavy Tech LLC. And I'll explain more with his introduction. But if this is your first time listening to Sanai, welcome to the show. Welcome in. Sanai really covers, and the whole mission for Sanai is to educate the audience when it comes to financial literacy as well as mental health, because those two subjects, I want to say, are big to me. And I feel like we all constantly on a daily basis, we're all spending finances, and as well as dealing with our mental health, dealing with ourselves mentally on a daily basis. So it's like, why not educate and see how I can help out the masses with my platform, as well as educate y'all day by day, especially when it comes to interviewing people within those fields, within the field of financial literacy or the field of mental health. So today's episode is going to be focusing on financial literacy, as well as hitting some mental health topics as well. But let me get started with the quotes of the day. My first quote is, "You can spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, or even months overanalyzing a situation, trying to put the pieces together, or you can just leave the pieces on the floor and move on." This hits home, dead ass, simply because I'm always overanalyzing a situation, and that's me. I'm a constant overthinker. I'm always thinking. So I always overanalyze situations. It's like, you spend so much time overanalyzing that you're clearly wasting time, especially when you're trying to put the pieces back together, like of a puzzle that is not meant to go back together. It's broken in pieces for a reason. So we overanalyze the situation. It's like, sometimes we just have to not overanalyze that situation, just leave those pieces on the floor and move on and focus on something new is on the way. But once again, the quote is, "You can spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, or even months overanalyzing a situation, trying to put the pieces together, or you can just leave the pieces on the floor." My next quote is, "If you aren't willing to change, expect things to stay the same." We all have to change. We all grow. That's why every year we have a birthday. So it's like, every year you're supposed to grow and change in some certain way. So you can't be the same person who you was last year. You can't be the same person you was yesterday. Every day is about learning, changing, growing, and becoming a new person. So it's like, expect things to change. You have to be willing to change. You have to change. You have to change who you are. You have to get out your bubble. You have to start getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's the biggest thing, where we don't want to take risks. We're afraid of taking risks. I was listening this morning to live with E.T., the hip hop preacher, and he was talking about, like, we as humans, we don't like taking risks. Why don't we like taking risks? We have to take risks in order to grow. You have to take a risk to change. Be a risk taker, but also be a calculated risk taker. Got the hat on the website, shameless plug. But you have to be willing to change. Life is about changing constantly. If you aren't willing to change, then things will stay the same. See, check in with yourself right now. Check yourself, have an evaluation, and see, have you changed from a year ago to now? Are you still doing the same things, hanging around the same people, doing the same shit? So it's like, you have to be willing to change. You can't, if you aren't willing to change, everything will stay the same. So you don't want to be the same person you are now as far as next year. So be willing to change, be the change. And I guess we're going to get to our guest, huh? On this episode, I got a guest, like I said, Ron Curtis from the DMV, Wavy Tech LLC. He graduated from Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia, majoring in business admin with a concentration in human resource management. He pledged to Alpha Kappa Psi, which is the oldest and largest professional business fraternity in the world. He has a passion for learning and helping others. He's a financial literacy coach and the CEO of Wavy Tech LLC. Wavy Tech LLC is a consulting company that focuses on teaching financial literacy through the use of technology. His goal is to change your perception of money and how you use it to acquire wealth. Without further ado, help me introduce my guest, Ron Curtis, aka Dr. Financial. Mic check 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, boss? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I cannot complain.
Man, same here. I appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
I appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you.
Man, I've been following you in your wave. I know your LLC is Wavy Tech, but yeah, I've been following your wave for a minute. Ever since I started following you, I like everything that you're about and what you're doing over there in DC. And I'm like, man, I gotta reach out and have him on the podcast because I know you got a lot of information and knowledge within your brain, as well as experiences that you've been through on your journey. So once again, I thank you for coming on the show.
All right, man. It's a pleasure to be here, man. I'm interested in diving into this conversation. See how much value I can provide, and just help as many people as I can.
Most definitely, most definitely. You want to let the people know a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So what's up, everybody? My name is Ron Curtis. Born and raised in Washington, D.C. I'm pretty much a financial literacy coach and also a passive income strategist. I teach people how to turn liabilities and leverage them into cash flow and assets. I do have a 9-to-5. I work for the DC government. I oversee the electric bus program for DC government for a fleet of different assets, different types of vehicles. So I'm just here to inspire anybody to show that you can have a 9-to-5. You can also be an entrepreneur. I call it a 9-to-5preneur. That's what I kind of classify myself as. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I'm a jack of all trades. I've dabbled in a lot of different types of businesses. Took some losses. I count those as lessons, though. They're not losses I've learned and able to, help people along the way. And I've also had some big wins. So I'm definitely looking forward to sharing in more depth with you guys today.
Got you, man. You hit a lot of points. I like how you said the 9-to-5 preneur, because it seems like when it comes to the 9-to-5, especially in this day and age with technology and everything, people don't want to work the 9-to-5 to fuel their dreams. They like, nah, I'd rather just trying to figure out on the internet and then be out there struggling with no income source. So that 9-to-5preneur is right because it fuels your dreams, it fuels your future if you use it in the right way.
Facts, man. I'm actually about to throw that on a shirt. I'm about to put that on a shirt.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You already know I'm gonna cop one as soon as it comes out.
Man, hey, it'll be up before the end of the night. I got a drop shipping shirt business as well. I just go and throw quotes on pictures, stuff like that. And it actually, when I go in and promote it, it gets sales. It's really, I do it when it's like trendy things going on, especially like when early in the pandemic we had Black Lives Matter movement, and all that racism and all that stuff. I had made some shirts and they would actually start selling on Teespring. It was crazy. I'm like, wow, you can really monetize anything.
And that's a fact too, because it's all about just doing the research and connecting with people, and because all the information out there with that, as long as you have Wi-Fi and a laptop, you can really learn anything and monetize anything from here on out. Like right now, I know you said you do Wavy Tech. I don't know if you're doing ebooks either, but that's another gateway so you can have financial literacy and education.
Yeah, facts. Yes. I actually published the ebook. That's kind of how I got into my financial literacy journey.
Okay. I like that. All right, we're gonna jump from the beginning. So how's this year been for you?
Man, this year has been a blessing, man. I pretty much what is it? We in September. I was able to purchase my home, a first time home buyer in DC. I was able to leverage credit, buy almost a $500,000 house for only $3,700. So that was a blessing. I've been able to help people start not only Turo and hire car, rental car business. Says I've been able to help people start their own vending machine business as well. I'm real big on putting green dollars in black hands. So that's definitely something that's been a blessing to me as well. Within 6 months of purchasing this home, I was able to convert my single family to a duplex. So now I have an Airbnb in my basement. I listed it last Monday, and now it's booked for 31 days. So my October mortgage is paid. I'm increasing my rental car fleet as well to create that passive income. And yeah, man, it's just been a blessing. About to get a promotion at my job, so I'm just trying to, find that balance in life. Everything's kind of coming to fruition.
I like that. There was a lot to unpack there because you said this year has been a tremendous blessing for you. Like you say, you've been helping a lot of people create passive income with the Turo, the hire car. Those are the two. Like, I didn't know about hire car, but I seen you posting and I started looking it up myself because I've been thinking about doing the Turo as well, as well as the vending machine. So that's crazy how you hit it. But like you say, you like putting green dollars in Black people's hands and helping people out any way you can. So I appreciate what you're doing out there in DC, as well as how you leverage your credit, because that's a big thing that's rarely discussed. I want to say in the Black community, we rarely discuss our credit, but we always looking for homes or houses or cars, but we don't know how our credit score is. And I know we talked on a personal level. I was like, yeah, I told you about how Credit Karma, you said Credit Karma, we all know it's like Credit Karma is a joke when it comes to what you're trying to do when it comes to the housing. It really comes down to your FICO score. So why do you think most people like use the Credit Karma app?
I mean, so first off, Credit Karma app is a great credit monitoring tool. It all just depends on what you're trying to do, what your goals are. So if you're just trying to, apply for credit cards, see what credit cards you can get approved for, Credit Karma shows you something called your Vantage scores. That's pretty much your TransUnion Equifax score. You can download the Experian app to get your Experian score. You always want to make sure you get all three scores pulled. A lot of people try to go with that highest score. You want to go with the middle value number score. The biggest difference between your FICO score and your Vantage score is your FICO score is just weighted more aggressively. And that's like if you want to go buy a car or a house. So they look at more data points than they will with a Vantage score. But I love Credit Karma. It's a great tool for beginners. It's a great tool for anybody who monitors their credit, because you can actually go in there and paint a nice picture and get a snapshot of everything that's going on your credit profile, and also your utilization, your credit history, and things like that.
Got you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna just start with my questions. How did the pandemic treat you and your family last year?
I look at the pandemic as a blessing and a curse. The reason being is I've always had like an entrepreneurial mindset. I used to suffer from analysis paralysis, so I used to, do all the research, cop all the courses, do all my due diligence on my end, and I never pulled the trigger on certain things. And by the grace of God, even though the pandemic happened, I was able to telework for over a year and a half, almost a year and a half. And it finally allowed me to start applying a lot of the things that I was plotting on. And to keep it 100 with you, everything that I'm discussing today, and everything's happened in the past 365 days, everything. So I'm saying that to inspire someone else that like, hey, it might sound like I do a lot, it may sound like I'm successful, but all of this happened since literally March 2020 when the pandemic started.
So yeah, that's where you just started like creating, like I needed the passive income, and you just started researching different things. Like that's what I've been seeing a lot too, like especially with the pandemic, how it shut everything down and people like lost their jobs, lost their homes, and lost many things amongst that. But you took that time, you took the pandemic and you made it a pandemic, I want to say. Because you was like, yo.
That's pretty safe to say. Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I was like everything you started. It seemed like you did start like everything within this past year. Because like I said, I've been following your wave and whatnot. I was like, oh, he's in this. Oh, he started doing this now. I'm like, okay, like you said, you're a jack of all trades, which is something that we all can be. It just all about applying yourself and putting that research in and figuring out what works best for you and being disciplined on that.
Exactly, man. So actually, it all started. I published the ebook called Financially Understanding Credit Cards back around December, January when it launched. It launched in January. I went to Florida, Orlando for vacation, and then when I came back, I dropped the book. I got a lot of good feedback, and from that, I said, okay, well, I was able to get myself out of a credit hole that I dug myself in. I see a lot of my peers do that as well. I made a book to get that education that we didn't learn at home, at school, or in the streets. They kind of like a quick informative read that breaks down credit cards and how they work. From that, I got linked up with a guy who had his own credit repair business. He kind of mentored me and just showed me, not more so the credit repair process, but more so how to, I guess, close a lead on the phone and, explain to them how to read a credit report, etc. And that's when I got my first taste of residual income. He pretty much, my bad. So what he pretty much did was, I guess he had so many clients coming in with different leads and marketing and affiliates. He actually hired me to start taking calls because he's only one person. And let's say he charged $1,000 for a program, he would pay me 30% of whatever each person I closed. And
Oh,
the
that's
beauty
good.
of it was, say that again. Sorry about that.
I said that's good. No, you good. I'll just
Oh,
chiming in my 2 cents. Yeah.
yeah. So the beauty of it was, even though I was teleworking, I still had a 9 to 5, was making a good salary. While I was teleworking, I was able to also, develop another skill that created residual passive income, where I was making about $2,000 additional every month, throughout the pandemic, and getting paid every Friday based on work that I completed months prior to. So that's when I kind of got a taste of it, and I say I can do this for myself, and I can find other ways to make money without having to actually physically be on a clock.
Yeah. Man, and I love that too, because you have to learn, you have to utilize your time to where you're having your money work for you instead of you working for your money. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be a 9 to 5 entrepreneur, but now it's like, how can you put what you got, the money that you saved up, the money that you invest in, and really utilize it, like starting a business like you started several businesses just from the ebook. The ebook, and you say you got in with your mentor doing the credit, and it just opened different paths to different passive incomes along the way. So I think he was just in a blessing at the right time, right place, right time type deal.
Definitely, man. I definitely believe everything happens for a reason. Everything is purposeful. And then, when those things do happen, you got to take advantage of those opportunities.
Hmm. So how long has Wavy Tech been around?
So Wavy Tech LLC has officially been in business since February 2020. One thing that I can really say to everybody on here that's thinking about a business, we see everybody say, oh, every person should have a business, whether you have a business or not, everybody should have an LLC. But it's more to it than that. It's not just, having an LLC. It's a lot of discipline that comes with that, tracking your finances, tracking your sales, tracking your expenses, making sure your taxes are right, understanding, the different kind of tax you have to pay. What's a write-off, what's not, the different softwares and systems in place you got to put in place to automate your business. So it is a lot more than just, filing that LLC, paying your $300 to get an EIN. It goes to, having the right type of bank account, business funding, having your business set up right, virtual address, all those different things. So those are things that I had to learn within the past year. And it wasn't a hard learning curve. It was just more to it than I thought. When you got money coming in, flowing from different angles, and you don't have a business, then all of a sudden you're like, hold up, I need to legitimize this because I'm making some money and I might have to pay some taxes on this. So I would just recommend everybody do your due diligence. See if you could get a nice accountant while you're in your business, and so you can make sure you look good on paper, so you can maximize different opportunities like SBA loans, or all those grants they was giving out. If your paperwork not right, you're not gonna be able to get those opportunities.
The information you was saying was clear, because you was hitting on some key points when it came to how you did Wavy Tech LLC. And you was telling people to do their due diligence when it comes to LLCs and businesses and S corps and whatnot. Don't just dive in. Like, get your CPA, get your lawyer, and make sure you have everything legitimized, and saving 30% of your income and save that for taxes. I think that's the
Exactly. So
last thing you stepped off.
I about to say I can run that whole segment back if you need me to. So to
Oh
be
yeah,
clear.
go ahead.
All right. So pretty much one thing I would definitely recommend to people is, we all glamorize being entrepreneurs, starting a business, etc. Instagram or other social media platforms, they make it look like as simple as just filing a LLC and getting the EIN number, but it's a lot more to that. Like, I would just recommend everybody, especially when the money starts flowing in, to just do your due diligence on your end. Establish what kind of business do you want? Do you want an LLC? Do you want a sole proprietorship? Do you want an S corp? Understand the benefits of each one. Do you want a nonprofit? You also want to make sure your banking is set up. You don't want to mix up your money. One thing I was doing that I didn't know I wasn't supposed to be doing was commingling funds. Having business money coming in with your personal account, right? And if you do that when you have a business, that exposes you to risk. Your LLC is a limited liability corporation or company, but you want to make sure that you're not mixing up that money, because if something does happen, somebody sue you, they'll go after you and your personal assets as well. You also want to make sure you have, separate accounts. You're tracking your funds, tracking 30% for taxes, putting things aside like that, having business bank accounts, checking accounts, business credit, all those different things. You want to make sure you're ready for those opportunities. Another example, I know you said when the pandemic hit, there was a lot of relief money out here, SBA loans, a lot of stuff like that. But if you didn't have your paperwork in order, like me, you weren't able to go and, maximize and leverage those low interest loans so you can pour into your business and scale. So those are just some of the things I would recommend anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur. Take those things into account, and just, make sure you do your due diligence on your end.
Okay. Got you. Thank you for that information though, because that is real true. Because I've been learning about that as with my LLC, learning like doing the due diligence and everything, see how I want to set up everything on my end. And damn, you just hit everywhere. Especially when it comes to entrepreneurship and everything, like you said, they glamorize it on social media and whatnot, but it's a lot of hard work behind the scenes, a lot of hard work, research, a lot of late nights and early mornings that you really got to dedicate yourself to building your brand, building the business, scaling the business, and figuring out who's with you and who's against you, and really just staying focused on what you have planned and having that vision, as well as creating a business plan for what you're doing and making sure it withstands pandemics that happen, because pandemics and stuff like that, crisis happens, you got to make sure your business withstands that and can stay afloat.
Exactly. I totally agree.
How was your business during the pandemic? Did it take a hit or did it take a gain?
Oh, my business took a gain. Like, this was all fun. Like, this is fun to me. Like, I like working on projects. I like making money, but like when I try things and it works, that's what brings me joy. So I mean, throughout the pandemic, I was able to scale multiple businesses. One being my credit business. I was able to, successfully scale that, and now pretty much almost fully automate my credit repair business. I'm real big on building stuff up, making money when you're not there, and then separating yourself and removing yourself from the equation. Of course, you can't get there out the jump, but if I look where I was last year, September 15th, I was actually probably standing in a post office mailing out letters that I had to print off, and printer got jammed, ran out of ink, licked in envelopes, handwriting everything, to now where, I mail off all my letters with a click of a button online. So it's definitely just about growth. My rental car business, I bought my first car in August. I'm up to 5 cars now. They cash flow consistently every day. So that's something that's been a blessing as well. And so, yeah, and then now I just got an Airbnb going. I was able to purchase a home in the pandemic as well, and I converted into a business where I live upstairs and I rent out my basement, and it's booked for 31 days, and I just listed it last week. So it's been a blessing. It's all glory to be to God. But by the grace of God, I haven't taken any hits. I had a vending machine business as well. I got out of that. But yeah, it's been a lot of lessons and learning during the pandemic, and a lot of blessings as well.
Yeah, it is. What'd you learn about yourself?
Well, that's great. What I learned about myself was, I know I was born for a greater purpose, and I just had to stop being afraid to take a chance. So in all actuality, the biggest risk I took to start at all of this, first car I bought for my rental car business, I actually went half with a guy who I met on Instagram, and I only knew him for a week. And we talked maybe 3 times on the phone over the week. He came up to DC. Saturday and Sunday, we drove around the dealerships, and we ended up buying a car. We split it with a credit card, 0 interest credit card. We wrote up an agreement. And ever since then, I've hit the ground running with just all my different business endeavors. And it's just like I'm not afraid to jump out the window anymore, jump out the plane. The biggest thing I learned about me is I'm good at a lot of different things, and I know what I'm not good at. And in business, I'm learning there's no one right way to do anything, no blueprint. So I've been building planes as I'm flying, and God's been keeping me afloat. So that's the faith and that's the mindset I'm keeping going with everything that I enter. I know I can make it work if I do my due diligence and I access the resources around me.
That's so true. I believe that too. Like you say, you learned a lot about yourself within this past year. It's like you gonna either stay on the sidelines or get into the game, and you have to make them risks and take them calculated risks sometimes when it comes to your life and what you want to do, and creative and passive income, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming a boss, and becoming your own business owner. It's like you have to do the research, you have to take the risks, spend money, scared money don't make money, as they say. So you have to just do the little things to really stay afloat and keep moving forward in anything that you're doing, because you can't be afraid of taking risks. And it's like us in society, I believe we all are afraid of taking risks, and it's like we hold ourselves back from accomplishing greater things because we're afraid to take that risk in life and we'll always be holding ourselves back every year that we don't take the risk that we're supposed to take.
I totally agree. It's like I think Wayne Gretzky said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And that really resonates with me. It's funny. When I used to be single and I used to try to talk to girls, I was able to live that motto, faithfully. Like closed mouths don't get fed. If I don't go talk to her, I never get to know her. And it's crazy how that same quote, resonates with business and life in general. Like you got to take risks. You got to take risks if you want to get rich, or nobody ever never made it anywhere playing it safe. So you definitely have to take those risks. Of course, I like to say all of my risks are calculated, but at the same time, like I said, you do your homework, you can hit a home run.
That's facts. That's facts. What made you become a financial literacy coach?
Oh, that's a great question. So financial literacy coach, what made me become that? So out of college, I went to VCU, graduated in 4 years, Virginia Commonwealth University. Shout out to the Rams. I majored in business. Pretty much out of college, my first job ever, I had an internship that converted into a full-time job. I was blessed with a $50K job offer right out of college at 21. That was the most money I ever made. So I live in DC. It's a lot of things to do, party, nightlife, things like that. I was traveling, going to U Street, going on dates, doing all types of stuff. And before you know it, by 2016, I was $10,000 in credit card debt. Damn. And although it didn't really impact my score, my income and my cash flow wasn't where it needed to be, which has stressed me out. There was a guy in my job who was a consultant from the UK. He had 30 years of experience in finance. He was an associate. So I went to him, asked him, hey, what should I do? My credit card minimum just went from $200 a month to $700, $800 a month. And what he did, he set me down. He made me write down each one of my credit cards. He made me write down what the balances were and also the APR percentages, which is the interest rates. He made me add up all my debt, all my interest rate, and basically, let's say for easy numbers, out of 5 credit cards, I had 10% each, just for easy numbers, hypotheticals, right? I was paying 50 cents on every dollar that I borrowed out of $10,000 with my credit cards. So he said, you have to do something called buy cheaper money. And I said, how do I do that? And what he pretty much said is you can do a balance transfer or you can do a debt consolidation loan. Long story short, I ended up doing a debt consolidation loan, which compounded at $10,000 over 5 years. And it went from like a $700 to $800 a month payment to a $200 a month payment, which was more attainable and, payable with my salary. So once I did that, that got me out of that hole. My credit score shot up something crazy once I paid down that $10,000. Then I realized I had friends around me who were going through the same issues. I gave them the exact same recipe and they were able to get their sales out as well. And from that, it made me want to publish that book. I realized, we aren't taught these things. We taught everything else, but we aren't taught, how to make money, how to leverage money, how to leverage credit, what credit is. And I just kind of dove into the field from that.
Why do I love all that? I want to pack some of that, but a question just popped in my head. Like, why do you think we're not taught financial literacy in the household during our childhood?
Well, the first thing is I think a lot of our parents or our elders aren't financially literate. Like they came up at a different time where, you go to school, you get a good job and you work for 30, 40 years, then you retire. And I think in today's day and age, especially with technology, we have so many different ways to make money. Like you can have a multi-million-dollar empire just by having an iPhone. And I don't think they had those same opportunities back then. And it's just, and I think it just comes down to, you don't know what you don't know. Some people had, family who was in real estate, doing the burn method, cash flowing properties, and you can kind of see that resonate with some of these people, in our age and demographics who are doing some of these things because they had somebody to teach them. But it all just comes down to financial literacy. And I think the biggest issue is we aren't taught it in school because the system is not meant for us to know it. Because if it was, it would be in every curriculum.
That is facts for real, because I believe it should be taught in school, especially it's rarely taught. Like you said, we were taught to go to school, get good grades, go to college, graduate, find that good job, work that job for 30 to 40 years, and then use that retirement or pension or 401k, and then you'll be set. But it's like, it has to be something different. That's not what life's all about, where you're working majority of your life at a job that you eventually hate, but you got to pay the bills, so you stay there. So there's like, it's a blessing that we were born in this era to where technology is booming, and like you said, you can have a multi-million-dollar company just off your iPhone and Wi-Fi alone. But it's like I love what you're doing. Like you trying to educate more people in the Black community as well as me with the podcast and educating our community around us to learn more. Like, hey, financial literacy, learn about it, invest, save, do your budget, look over your credit, check out your credit score, see how you can leverage your credit, see how you can get out of your credit debt, see how you can get out of that student loan debt, and just really talk about it. I think when it comes to financial literacy, it's that the fact that it's not taught in the Black community, and when it comes to finances, majority of the Black community isn't good when it comes to finances. So there's an embarrassing topic to talk about that nobody really knows how to touch bases on it.
Yeah, and I think we definitely have to start changing our conversations. You change your conversation, you definitely change your conversation. So what I try to do at any gathering, especially family gatherings or when I'm intimate gatherings with my friends, we're not always talking about sports or celebrities or women. Like I try to change up the conversations. A lot of my friends see the different things that I'm doing, so that kind of sparks those conversations. And I'm an open book. I'm trying to share as much knowledge that I know. I definitely don't know everything, but just up to this point, what I have learned, I try to just be an open book for anybody who's interested in and wanting to learn. And I think that's where it starts. Once you hit that realization point where, okay, I'm tired of living this type of lifestyle, I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck, I need some more money, X, Y, and Z, then that's when it'll click when people make those transitions. But definitely if it's taught at home or even introduced, in school. One thing that I find very funny, I took Spanish from kindergarten all the way to senior year in high school, right? So that may be, I literally took Spanish that long. I remember. And I'm very basic in Spanish. I can't speak it. I could go to Mexico and have a conversation or decode certain words or read certain things. But imagine if I spent that same time learning about what a stock was, or learning about a checking account or credit, or having a curriculum built out like that. It's not meant for everybody to win like that. So and I think it's something that needs to be done. I'm working on a curriculum to actually launch inside different schools in the DMV area. I want to help incarcerated individuals, show them when you get out, there's ways to bounce back and become a member of society. So those are the things that we need in our communities, especially people of color and minorities.
Exactly. That's real, because we all need help, and I feel like we haven't got the help we should have received. We still trying to get our 40 acres and a mule, but it's like we can create our own 40 acres and a mule by just applying ourselves and learning more about the financial literacy, learning more about finances, how money works, how to make money work for you, how to save money, and do the little things like that, so you can advance yourself and advance your future. Because you can always create a stream of income by just anything that you're passionate about, anything that you love. You can really just figure out, how can I monetize this, or how can I make money off of this to where I don't have to spend all my somewhere else I don't want to work.
Exactly. Like I really firmly believe you can monetize anything, any skill that you have, no matter where you work. I'm not even going to name any places, because if somebody got a job, I respect it. But no matter where you work, you should be trying to take some of those skills that you're learning there and see how you can transfer them into, a career for you or entrepreneurship for you. Like even talking to people, customer service, time management, all these different things are skills that are needed when you're running your own business. Managing people, managing assets, no matter what you do, don't go to work for the money or for your yearly salary or hourly wage. Go to work for the skills that you can learn. If your job's offering certifications, if your job's offering to send you to school, if your job's, offering to help you advance in your career and learn more skills, I would just tell people, take full advantage of that and kind of take a step back, open your eyes, and see what you can actually do with all the skills that you have at your job.
That's facts. You're basically saying, don't work to earn.
Yep, work to learn, don't work to earn. Yeah, now you could throw that on the shirt. See?
What's that? Hey, just pay me. I'm good. For sure. So the nickname Dr. Financial, where'd it come from?
That's a great question. So actually pre-pandemic, that's when I was really like launching my financial literacy brand. I was going to networking events, Google events, first time home buyer events, just anything dealing with financial literacy that I could find on Eventbrite. I would just go. When I get off work, I would go. To learn and network with like-minded individuals. I actually came across two great individuals, a couple. My guy Les, financial guru Ham Les, he actually has a podcast too. and he has a girlfriend named Brittany, Britt the money coach. And
Oh,
what Britt is, she is a life insurance agent with Primerica. And I went to one of their events. I really vibe with them. Well, you know when you go somewhere and you finally find people that speak your language or interested
yeah.
in financial literacy, or interested in something that you like. So we just vibed genuinely. When I saw them talking, I'm like, these are the type of people I want to be, you know, in 5-10 years. So I connected with them. Me and Britt got really cool. I did. Well, this is crazy. This happened during the pandemic too. I had signed up to become a life insurance agent. I did that for a little while. I never went and took the test though, because once I did my due diligence, I realized that really wasn't what I want to do. But spending that time with Brittany, she understood my vision, and she said, Ron, because she knew I did credit and everything else. She was like, Ron, people come to you when they need help with their finances. You're like a doctor. And then when she said that, I'm like, yeah, I'm I think she called me Dr. Financial. She was like, you're Dr. Financial. People, how many people call you when they have people hit me up all the time, anything pertaining to finances? And I'm like, you know what? I like that. It has a nice ring to it. So I just threw it on Instagram. It's been that. I'm actually working on trying to, build a brand with it. In
Mhm.
terms of, having like images and content and all that stuff. But yeah, it was catchy. I liked it, and it sits with me. And I don't got a doctor's degree, but I can help, people. I can help you, remedy any issues that you have pertaining to credit, business credit, budgeting, and things like that. So that's kind of where it came from. She gave me that name because hers was like Britt the Money Coach, and I'm like, okay, I need a cool nickname, and that's what she
He
gave
said,
me.
"I need to go."
Yeah,
Hey, her nickname is nice, and I like yours too, Doctor Financial, because like you said, like she said, people come to you to work on their finances, and you help them out like a doctor. You really help them out, like you said, business credit, any type of credit that they need, any financial um, information that they need, they can just come to you, and you have a whole knowledge waiting to give out to them. So I really like the name. That's why I was curious. I'm like, how do you get Doctor Financial? I'm like, you hear all the other doctors, but you never hear like the Doctor Financial or Doctor Credit Repair or something like that, where it turn pertains to helping people out in a real way. So, was being a financial coach always your dream, or as a child, did you have a different dream?
as a child, I think the first career day I ever had, my dad was always a principal my whole life. Not my principal in my school, but he's always been a principal. But the
Yeah.
first career day I had, I wanted to be an NBA scout. I think that's what I dressed up as. Might have had
Okay.
like an and one sweatshirt, a nice watch, and I was like, I'm a scout for career day. And then in college, I was undecided my first 2 years. I really loved the show Criminal Minds, so I used to want to be a behavior analysis. I'm real big on psychology.
That's my shit. Not to cut
Hey,
you off, but
no, you
Criminal
good, you
Minds is
good.
my shit.
That was
I
my
was the
favorite
same
show.
way.
And then like I guess once I got to my sophomore year, I think I saw one episode where one of the agents ended up getting hunted down and got smoked by by one of the unsubs. And I said, you know what? I'm too likable of a person. I don't want people. And then like that's when like police brutality. I started becoming aware of that. I was okay. I don't
Yeah.
want to be no FBI agent chasing crazy people. And I got with a family. They break in my house. And then also I feel like I'm such a likable person, or I like people and interacting with people. I couldn't be a fed because people will mug on you and hate you just for putting on a uniform. And I realized that's not what I wanted to do. So one day, which is really funny, one day after I went and met with my advisor, I had to pretty much decide what my major was, and I got high and just Googled psychology and business because that's a lot of the different. That's all the credits that I had, and just by people say you're not supposed to smoke, get high, etc. But I was productive with it, and I just found what is a mix of psychology and business, and HR popped up. I know I didn't like people. Not unlike people. I didn't want to be HR paper pushing, but in that moment, my sophomore year in college, I said I want to learn the psychology of business,
Mm,
and that's what I've always been since that day.
damn. I like that. He said I got high and just searched for a major in psychology and business put together, and I came up with that. That's good too, because I feel like as we're growing up through different phases of life, we change, we become different people, and we learn more about ourselves, learn what we love to do, and learn what we're passionate about and what we do. Like you said, as a kid, you want to be an NBA scout. I think that's like everybody's dream, to be like involved in sports as they're growing up within the Black community. Nobody really dreams like, oh, I want to be a doctor or a lawyer, what some people do, or even a financial coach, because financial coach is like it's really discussed in the Black community, especially growing up in a household. You don't know what a financial coach is, never heard of a financial coach. So over the years, God had a calling for you and you received it.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I never ever thought of it like that. You're right, God had a calling for me. I received it like I said, okay, if I can learn the psychology of business, I want to understand how people who have wealth, how they make money. And ever since then, I was just intrigued with it. I started reading books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, like a bunch of different type of books. And I would listen to books as well. Listen to podcasts, listen to YouTube motivational speakers, and just that's what I like. That's what I resonate towards. So that's what my passion is, just financial literacy and teaching it to people.
But I was gonna also recommend if I don't know if you have read this book where you talk about psychology and business, but the psychology of money. Have you ever read it?
I haven't. I'm gonna add that to my Audible. What's crazy, I just downloaded Blinkist yesterday, and then there's an app called 12 Minutes. And what it does, because I realized on Audible, I add a lot of books and then I don't finish them. I read multiple books. I'm, jumping to this, jumping to that. But what Blinkist and 12 Minutes does is summarizes the book. Well, Blinkist does it in like 30 minutes or less, and you get all the key points. And I think that's what really matters in the book. But I'm definitely gonna check that out, The Psychology of Money.
Yeah, and the thing about I'm gonna check out Blinkist too and 12 Minutes because I love the whole read the summary of the book instead of getting the key points out of it instead of reading the whole thing. You're like, all right, I barely got 5 points out of this book. You could have just summed it up in 4 to 5 paragraphs.
Exactly.
And I get what you mean. But with the Psychology of Money, the book is simple, short stories about real life, and it's a great book. The first chapter, I'm gonna just summarize it. Basically, is its first chapter name is No One's Crazy, and it really discusses and talks about how everybody just grows up in different financial situations in life, and it's like everybody has their own. We're anchored to our own set of views of how money works. We what makes sense to you might not make sense to me, and vice versa. And it's like it says the person who grew up in poverty in ways the wealthy can't even fathom. So this book is like, I think you'll like it. You'll be like, oh yeah, this shit is hard.
I've seen this book before. I just searched it. I think I tried listening to it and then I couldn't get into it and I deleted it. But I remember this cover. I'm definitely going to check it out though, now that you recommended it. And there's one book that I can say I've read since the pandemic started that really changed my life and like put me into a whole nother drive. And I listened to it and it was the best book I probably ever listened to in my life. It's called Set for Life.
Set for Life?
Set for Life by Scott Trench. I would recommend it. It talks about basically, he literally gives you the blueprint on what to do in life to achieve financial freedom. And it's like legit step by step, even from like how to save up your first $25,000 and then what to do once you get that. And he talks about cash flow and investing and all that stuff. And he makes it very simple and straightforward. It was a great book.
Got you. I'm gonna check it out most definitely. I love book recommendations. That was gonna be in the next segment that we was gonna talk about. But right now, I just want to take a journey back. How was your childhood growing up?
Man, my childhood was amazing. It was a blessing. I grew up in Washington, D.C. I have 2 younger brothers. I'm the oldest. I lived in a 2-parent household my entire life. A lot of my friends and peers, that's rare. So that's abnormal. I didn't really understand until I got older how much of a blessing that was. So I always had a father figure and a mother in my life. Like I said, my dad's always been a principal pretty much my whole life. So he's made a pretty consistent, middle class salary. My mom is real big on faith, sends scriptures every morning, sends daily bread every morning, like consistently. I have a tight knit, family, my brothers. I have good friends around me. I can say my childhood was a blessing growing up. Like I went to public school. I played basketball from middle school all the way to college. I mean, all the way to high school, on teams and stuff like that. I played different sports. Always had good grades. Always had a 3.0 or higher. How you going to not have good grades when your dad's a principal? At home with bad grades, and I think I've always been good at learning. So I've always had like a passion for learning. So I didn't look at school as like, something that was like, school homework. It was just something that was already instilled in me at a young age. Like my mother used to make me come home and read books before I can go outside and play while everybody else in the neighborhood outside playing. And
same rules.
Yeah, and it's like I'm realizing now how much that really probably affected my life. That if I was like the reason I am who I am today had a lot to do with my upbringing. But I had a good childhood. Like, always was traveling. My parents had like a little they still go down there, like a campsite in Virginia. We go down there every holiday, so a nice little getaway from the city. Like, I was blessed, man. I really was blessed. My parents made sacrifices to make sure, me and my brothers were taken care of.
Good, man. Shout out to your parents. That's good. Parents always have to make sacrifices when it comes to their children and things making life better for their children. Like you said, your mom said, "Hey, you can't go outside until that homework get done," which is like in all, like, honestly, I think that's in all African American households where they like, "Yo, you ain't going outside until you get this homework done," and that's because parents knew the significance of schooling and being educated and whatnot. So they would like instill it in the kids, like, "Yo, you gotta get good grades, you gotta do your homework, you gotta learn this stuff," because some of our parents, if like my mom's from Jamaica, some of our parents didn't have access to the education that we were getting at the time as we were growing up.
Exactly. And what's crazy, bro, it wasn't even always homework. Like, I used to have a summer reading list, and I used to have to read books before I could, or a certain amount of pages before I could even go outside and play. Like, it was even homework when it wasn't no homework. And I definitely got to transfer those same habits and discipline into my future kids as well.
That's true. Was mental health ever discussed in your household?
Was mental health discussed in my household? What's crazy? Nah, now that I think about it, I guess we were so big on faith in God. That's really what I was taught and instilled in me and my household. In college, I was dealing with some mental health stuff, and just off that upbringing that I had, that relationship I had with God, it was able to get me through all of that. That strong, faith that my mother had, that she instilled in me, had us going to church, had us writing scriptures when we got in trouble, like can recite any scripture. All of that stuff definitely, plays into a factor of mental health, because every day, this life is a battle every day. And people really go through stuff. Like I told you, I had a good childhood coming up. I had friends that didn't have the same childhood as me. You got to be mentally tough, to go through that. So mental health is definitely real. I have a nonprofit with 4 of my friends from college called First Base Inc. We like to focus on mentorship, community outreach, and professional development for young adolescents. And we always make sure we include mental health in those conversations with those kids, because you never know what people are going through. And that's something that definitely needs to be discussed, especially in the minority communities.
Exactly. No, that's true. Like I said, like, that's good that, like you say, your mom instilled the faith in you and the Bible verses and everything to always have trust God in your darkest times. Because, like you said, every day life is a battle. You dealing with different things, even as a kid, from growing up to being an adult. Life is a constant battle when you're dealing with different things in life, especially last year with the pandemic. That was the first time people dealt with that, where the whole world was shut down. And some people had to stay in the house the whole time, be alone by themselves and things like that. So constant battle when it's like you got to always have that faith and do what helps you relieve your mental frustration in a way when it comes to the mental health, and really taking care of yourself on a daily of stuff that you're doing. Like, I know a lot of people have the faith, are religious, and they have certain Bible verses that they recite during the darkest times, and those Bible verses or the prayers help you out and uplift you from that dark, or you start seeing the light, because you're like, I got this faith, and I vented and laid it out on God for just holding in to myself.
Exactly, man. That's what it comes down to. Like, can't nobody tell me God not real. Can't nobody. I don't care who you are. I've had my own personal, relationship and experiences that I know. I'm a 10 toes down believer. And I just try to, instill that in my everyday life, and, confess to as many people that I can that's going through different stuff, because, like, I like how you know that, it's been a pandemic, and the thing that stuck out to me, you said people were shut down, they couldn't go out, they had to be in the house. But it's people out here who lost loved ones, who lost their mom, their dad, their family, and still had to cope with that. Like, I've spoken on a lot of different panels. One of them was called Coping with COVID. And it was a bunch of psychologists and doctors on there and counselors. And one thing that they said was, people are walking around depressed and don't even know they're depressed. And I think it's a lot of that still going on. We haven't reached the tip of the iceberg with this. I actually just got my second shot today, and it's still not like 100%, factual that you're good. So there's a lot of anxiety, about, you know, the future. There's a lot of depression about the past, and anxiety about the now as well. So, you know, getting close to God and, you know, establishing that relationship, that's something that can definitely help you, you know, find things to take your mind off those things, working out, eating healthy, working on yourself, you know, starting a project, a business, things like that can definitely help you in these times as well.
Yeah, that's true. Like you said, eating healthy, working on yourself, and doing the little things, exercising, getting out in the sun, getting some vitamin D, and just really helping yourself out and help you hope. Like you can't stay in the house all day. It's gonna just really build up versus you getting out there, getting that sunlight, getting some fresh air, and just really taking it in and just being outside with nature and not letting anything you're going through mentally affect you or derail you or hold you down. Because like you said, with the panel, that was just great that they had the coping with COVID. You like people lost their jobs, people had a lot of loss that it was hard to deal with. Like they said, people were walking around with depression and they don't know that they're depressed. They just probably think they're sad.
Exactly. And it's gonna be ongoing. Like it's still going. It's not slowing down. But like you said, we just got to do those. The one thing that really helped me when I started to feel like that in the house, I would just get up and go walk around my whole neighborhood for like 30 minutes. And then I started biking around my neighborhood, and I found joy in doing other things. Like the sun really does affect your mood, your energy, all of that. Like, so I would just recommend, you know, if you're feeling down, do something different, do something good for your body today, do something, you know, different that can help benefit you, to kind of, you know, take your mind off things. Like it's crazy what a view and a breeze and some sun can do, for real.
True. For real. So we got back onto the topics. What are your key financial principles?
I think my only financial principle is OPM. One of my favorite rappers
The people money.
is Dom Kennedy. And he has a brand or a saying motto, OPM, other people's money. And, you know, I used to be rapping this song saying OPM back in college, not even really understanding what OPM is, but like other people's money is really like my financial principle that I live by, because when I say other people's money, it's not only like, you know, making a sale to you or, you know, adding value to you in exchange for monetary gain. It's more so about, you know, leveraging the bank's money. Like you're never supposed to start any business with your own money. Whether you got $50,000, $100,000 in the bank or not, the wealthy don't go take their own money. They go use the bank's money. So
the question again, what is your key financial principle?
Yeah, so my key financial principle is OPM, other people's money. Pretty much growing up, especially in college, early college, Dom Kennedy, that's one of my favorite rappers. And he always talked about OPM. That's one of his brands. You know, I was rapping and not really understanding what it meant, but you know, OPM, that's my key financial principle. Is just my job is to figure out how do I get other people's money to create passive income or cash flow for me. So it's more so like, okay, how can I sell you a product and provide or a service and provide value to you for monetary gain? It's more so about thinking of a different way of how to make money. So when we go to work, it's something called the cash flow quadrant. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it. Pretty much the EBSI model. So for everybody that doesn't know what it is, I will Google it. Pretty much if you draw a cross, it's an E, a B, an S, and an I on each corner, each box. E is employee, B is business owner, S is self-employed, and I is investor. The employer and self-employed lives on the left side of the quadrant. That's pretty much you trading your time for money, you working for your business. On the right side, it's your business owner. You have people who work for you or systems that work for you. And then investors, you have your money work for you. So when I say OPM, my goal is to get to that right side of the quadrant. How can I leverage other people's money to create income for me? Whether that's the bank's money, that's one of my favorite type of OPM, or whether it's any customers, clients, or consumers. So I would just say, you know, employ your dollars. I think Warren Buffett or somebody else said pretty much, if you don't learn how to make money when you're sleeping, you're going to work until the day you die. Me personally, I want to travel. I want to retire young and travel the world. And I know one way that I can definitely do that for sure is through cash flow, lowering my monthly expenses and overhead, and leveraging and utilizing OPM, which is other people's money.
I fucking love that. I've been fucking singing Dom K shit, OPM for forever now, because it's always about spending other people's money or figuring out leverage other people's money to work for you and create passive income, different streams of income. Like you said, you want to retire early. I'm the same way. I want to retire early and travel the world versus trying to work years for a company and it's not getting nowhere but towards retirement. So that OPM, that's a major key. I love that principle myself.
Thank you. Retirement is not an age; it's an amount of money that you need to survive each month until you die. That's what retirement is, and I think they misconstrue it for us.
Mm-hmm. My next question would be, are you financially free?
Not yet. No, I'm not financially free. I think being financially free is you have consistent cash flow income streams coming in. I'm financially comfortable right now. I feel like I want for nothing. I'm a simple guy. I'm not flashy. I'm not, wearing designer and buying sections and all that. I could if I wanted to, but that's never been me. That's not something that interests me. I will be financially free. And with that being said, like being financially free, I have a number. So my number to be 100% financially free is $10 million. If I generate $10 million, I never have to work again, ever again in my life. My family doesn't have to work again, and I can actually put that money to work to start creating generational wealth and passing that on to the next generation and creating legacy. I feel like I will be financially free when I'm netting or my profit each month is $10,000 a month. Because then that's when I can travel and do whatever I want. I have different goals and different milestones. So first I want to hit my first 10K month. And then after that, I also want to double whatever my 9-to-5 income is, and then double that with my passive income. And once I do that, that's when I know I'm getting closer to that goal.
Gosh, I like the plan. I like how you say you got goals and milestones, and you have that set number that you want to retire on. How'd you come to 10 million?
So probably listening to a podcast or reading a book or something like that. But I remember, everybody wants to be a millionaire. Maybe even Brittany. I think Brittany said that because I got a life insurance policy with her. But she asked me what's my retirement number. She asked me that. And I think I might have clichely said $1 million. So everybody wants to be a millionaire. Who wants to be a millionaire? The show, right? And when you really break down the numbers, $1 million is nothing but $80,000 a year over 12 years. So if I gave you $1 million today and you live a modest salary at $80,000 a year, you would be broke in 12 years. So when you have $10 million, you can now throw that money into, money markets and have that money grow with investments and things like that. You can go buy, use that capital to go buy real estate, go buy cash flowing assets, go buy franchises that will continue to generate money for you. But if you just get $1 million, I don't remember what book I read, but they said, or listened to, they said it's more stressful being a millionaire than being in the middle class. And the reason being is because you're literally one decision away from falling back into the middle class. You got to figure out how to make that million grow, or you'll be right back down there. So that's why 10 million is the number. You shoot for the moon, you land on the stars. And then my monthly income will be 10K. And what I do is I just find different ways to bring in $1,000 extra a month. So an example, I just bought a 5th car, but I have 4 rental cars, right? Mm-hmm. And each of them generate about $1,000 revenue a month. And they probably do about $800, about $800 to $700 a month profit, right? So I can easily get $10,000 a month if I go buy 10 to 12 rental cars, right? But those cars, their life expires at some point. So once the cars break down or they hit 100, 200, 300,000 miles, I no longer have those stream of incomes. You can get a vending machine. You got some multiple vending machine businesses. You can get an event space. You can have an Airbnb that's bringing you $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month. You have a 9-to-5 that's bringing you $4,000 a month. And when you have multiple streams coming in and they're consistent, I think that's my goal, to have something that's consistent. eBay or Amazon or Walmart automation store, just constantly having money coming in and not scale my expenses. And I think I could definitely make it happen. But I need to be consistent.
And that's what it comes down to too, like you said, so you don't scale your expenses. It's like when we get that pay raise, we get that raise, everybody got the stimulus and everything, they want to go splurge and everything. It's like whenever we get surprise money or guest money, we want to up our spending and everything instead of staying and living below our means and keeping that money and investing that money into something that'll help you out in the long term versus just blowing money fast. It's like you can't BMF your money because when you look back, you won't have that financial literacy to maintain money, or you can't have that financial literacy to be, let's say you did have $1 million, like you said, you're one decision away from going back into the middle class. So it's like having that financial literacy, having that plan and ready in place to like, though, if I had, like you said, your goal was 10 million and you have a plan to get that 10 million, you said all I need is like 10K a month and I'm generating that passive income right now. And where each income is, each thing that I'm doing is generating $1,000 from that certain cash flow stream. So it's all about having that plan and educating yourself within that field so you don't chase the millions and end up broke within the next 12 years.
That's true. Let me give you a perfect example, because as my income is increasing, like I said, I went and bought a house, and then I thought, wow, it's going to be rough, but the same amount I'm paying for a house pretty much is what people rent a 1-bedroom studio in DC for. And I was able to convert my basement into a 1-bedroom apartment studio. And I don't know if I said this already, but I listed it on Monday last week on Labor Day, and it's already booked for 31 days, and my October mortgage is paid. So just by leveraging this asset, I just eliminated almost $1,900 expense, right? Another thing that I recently did, and I did this to bet on myself. I'm not really like this, but I bought a Tesla on Saturday. I bought a Tesla, but it was a business decision, and I'm gonna break down the numbers for you just to kind of show people how you can also scale your income and then, scale the luxury in your life, but also, have it for free. So a Tesla that I bought is $40,000, right? It won't get delivered until February. Since I rent cars on Turo, I know how to research market values for cars. So the same Tesla that I bought, and this is a 2018. These are data metrics from a 2018. Mine's going to be a 2021 or 2022. A Tesla goes for about $150 to $200 a day in the DC market. If my car is rented for 12 days out the month, Turo, based on all their data that they pay out, says that I'm expected to get $1,700 on 12 days rented, right? The car note for a Tesla is around $500 to $600, and insurance would be around $150. So let's say high number 600, I'm at $750 all in. If I rent my car out at 12 days out the month on Turo, I now pay my car note and made that extra $1,000 worth of revenue stream we were just talking about. And then I get to ride around in a Tesla for free the other 22 or 20, how many ever days that is in a month, 18 days in a month. Yeah. So you got to think of different ways to leverage, your credit and your assets or liabilities and to convert them into assets. Since I have other rental cars, when my car is rented, I can drive those cars. I live 5 minutes from my job. I can bike to work if I wanted to, so we got to learn to stop being so possessive and being so emotionally attached to different things, and start thinking strategically on, or do you want to retire? Do you want to keep working? You're going to let somebody else drive your Tesla because it's fully covered. You're fully insured. If anything happens to it, they'll cut you a check. So those are the type things I'm trying to get people to think, instead of riding around in a Mercedes, riding around in a Benz, and you get a tail light, you got to spend $700. But with a Tesla, it doesn't have an engine. It doesn't have a transmission. It has no fluids in it besides what's inside the battery, and also windshield wiper fluid. You don't pay for gas. So it's really low maintenance. And you just eliminate all those expenses. The average person spends minimum around $5,000 a year on gas. I just saved myself $5,000 a year by buying a Tesla. A Tesla, if you buy it under your business, you can get a $10,000 to $18,000 tax write-off. So that same $40,000 car just became $22,000. So those are some of the things to try to get people to think. So I just bought a Tesla, but I got it for the price of a Nissan or a Toyota. So those are just some of the things that we got to start thinking differently as a people, to start leveraging our assets, leveraging our credit, leveraging OPM to create the lifestyle that we desire, that we see that's glamorized.
That's true. That's all true too. Like you said, you found out you've been you in the Toro game, so it helped you out figure out how to, like you say, you checked out the market prices for each car, and when you got the Tesla, you did your research on the Tesla, and you was like, yo, I can make money off this. I can figure out how to leverage it in my benefit if I rent it out 12 days out the month, and I'll have somebody pay my car note versus, nah, this is my car. It's a brand new Tesla. It's a brand new Benz, Mercedes. I'm in love with it. I'm emotionally attached to it. I don't want to let nobody else in it, ride it, because they might do this to it, might do that to it. But it's like, hey, like you said, do you want to be working on your life, or do you want to retire early and build them cash flowing streams up?
Exactly. It's all about what you want at the end of the day. That's true.
Facts. What do you think is more important, time or money, and why?
Time, without question. Time waits for no man. You can't get back time. You could trick off money. You could lose money. You could get cranked with money. You can always get it back, especially if you're a natural born hustler. You can find a way to go make money. But time is something that, that's one of the biggest things that I think resonated with me prior to the pandemic. I always thought, I've never thought about death. I always thought, oh, I'm gonna be here, la 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 la, BSing, and probably in October 2019, I went to the doctor. Doctor said she found something on my lung. She scared me, had me thinking it was cancer, and I just snapped into this beast. I snapped into like an animal, like, whoa, I'm not gonna be here forever. It just woke me up, and it made me realize time is, nobody knows their end date. Nobody knows when they're gonna go. That's one reason I went and got life insurance as well, because you never know when you're gonna go, and you just got to take advantage of your time. So it just kind of helped me start appreciating time more. You can always get more money, but you can't get more time. So I definitely think time is more important.
Love your answer on that question. And like you said, like I was like the same way, where you like consume like, oh, I'm gonna be here forever, but then you get that reality check, like, you better start planning and getting that life insurance, planning yourself and planning out how, because you, like you said, you can't get time back, but you can get that money back. If you're a hustler, you always get that money back, but that time you won't get back. The last 10 minutes, 15 minutes that we've been discussing, we won't get that back, but that knowledge will still be there. So it's like utilizing and investing your time the right way versus just spending all your time like chasing money at the end of the day, because money is an important time, because you can always get money back no matter what you're doing.
That's true. And one concept I say with one of my friends, he lives out in Vegas. He lives a fun life. He does gambles. He does a lot of different things. And what he always says to me, he said, money's not real. And money's important. It's right up there with oxygen. You need it to survive. But when you really start getting money, you realize like money's not real. You don't take it so seriously. Like you learn, you got it. You start appreciating life and time more, especially when you're getting it and when you're not like, you don't have a scarcity money mindset. But when you believe money can abundantly flow to you and come to you, you create things that allow money to flow to you. Money's not that important anymore. In my opinion, where I'm at right now, like I don't stress about money. I'm not rich or well off anything. I just kind of strategically place my life. Well, like I said, if my mortgage is paid and I haven't paid a car note or insurance since 2019, most people's highest bills are their rent and their car note. If I eliminate that and I cook at home, eat out every now and then. If you got money coming in, you have money to manage, so you're not stressed about money. You're not checking your bank account every day, so I think time is way more important.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think time is more important as well. What is your biggest accomplishment?
It's a good question. I mean, I think my biggest accomplishment is making my parents proud. I guess I'm gonna have like a interpersonal one and an actual like physical one. So just making my parents proud, being a role model for my younger brothers. They both pretty much fresh out of college, just to see just to see them starting to ask like, man, hey man, I need some money. I'm trying to learn financial literacy. I'm trying to, do this with you. Let's make this a family business. Let's make our last name a legacy. Like those things made me proud, because if I was still doing some of the things I was doing prior to this, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I don't think, I would be able to have that impact on them. But just making my parents proud, all the things I do, they're always talking to their friends, talking about me. I've been able to help, some of their friends, some of their coworkers create passive income streams for them as well. So that's that, just helping people. It hits home with my family, but then just helping people, like helping people start vending machine business. I got one guy I went to college with. I helped him get his first 4 machines at 2 locations. A month later, he has 25 vending machines now at 10 different locations. Like
Damn.
things like that. Like I put money, I help put money inside Black hands by, you know, teaching them that, right? He has a rental car business too. He took my course. Now he has, I think, 6 to 8 cars. He has more cars than me. I've helped people start rental car businesses, drop shipping stores, credit businesses, like all different types. Those have the biggest impact for me. It's really instead of always passive income, I like passive impact as well. Like you know, making videos on Instagram or something like that, giving out free game, and people like actually taking it and applying it and going to make things happen. That resonates with me. So I feel accomplished in that sense. And then I guess this year, one of my biggest accomplishments was able to buy this house by, you know, doing my research, leveraging first time home buyer programs, leveraging OPM, and being able to buy like I said, almost $500,000 house, and I only spent $3,700 out of my pocket, and now I potentially eliminated my mortgage for 30 years. So that's the, and I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't have anybody show me how to do it. Nobody in my family is an entrepreneur. I try to get my mom and dad on these different things that I'm doing, but you know, older people are stuck in their ways. But that's what I try to tell them, like, you got a 40-year-old credit card, you know, you can be making $1,000 per person you add as authorized user trade line. I don't want people having my information. Nobody's gonna have your information. They don't understand it. So my goal is to try to retire them. That's one of my goals now. And once I hit that, I'll be fully accomplished. And just purchasing this house and doing all this without a blueprint or no step-by-step guide, just by putting faith in God and just putting my head down and just going after it. That's what I'm proud of personally.
Man, I love that detailed answer, and I'm just like, a lot of that's really resonating with me. Like you said, making your parents proud. I think that's what it comes down to. Like, you just want to make your parents proud and make sure you're doing something that your parents like brag to their friends about. Like you're doing, like telling all your friends, you helping their friends out with their, when it comes to credit, when it comes to financial literacy, and that's just always a good thing. You have that inner feeling, that good feeling, like, all right, this is my purpose, and I'm doing this for a reason. I'm helping people out. I'm assisting people, and then the passive impact is making me feel good. Like the money don't come now. Now it's all about me focusing on how can I help green dollars get into the Black community, and that's what you're doing on and consistently. I know personally, I'm gonna need your help with when I do my Toro as well as vending machines as well. So I'll be hitting you up about that, and so I appreciate you. What's a valuable lesson you live by?
A valuable lesson that I live by?
Yeah.
I think it goes back to like treating others the way you want to be treated, doing good by people. Like nobody can ever say I snaked them out. Nobody can ever say I did anything malicious to them. Nobody can ever say I tried to cause harm or intent harm anybody or hurt anybody. And just being a overall, like, you know, genuine human being. Like it's a lot of evilness in this world. It's a lot of wicked stuff going on. But as long as you do your part, you know, as a human being, you know, make the human race and make this world a better place. I think that's something that I stand on. And it all resonates to business, doing good business with people, not, you know, snaking people, scamming people. Like just, you know, practice what you preach and, you know, treat people the way that you want to be treated. That's something I stand on. If somebody throw a rock at you and it hurt, that don't mean you always got to throw the rock back. Sometimes you got to be the bigger person. And that's kind of like how I live my life.
Wow. All right, we're gonna jump into our next segment, next conversation. Just I call it Fab Five because you know, the Fab Five from Michigan. Just 5 questions and just your top 5 answers. What's your top 5 movies?
Top 5 movies. Speaking of basketball, Coach Carter. Coach Carter is one of my favorite movies. I don't know why I used to always watch it before the basketball season. It got me amped up. So Coach Carter is definitely one of my all-time favorite movies.
Got you. You have any more? Is that just it?
That's the only one I could think of. I like watching movies. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but if anybody asks me, I really like drug type movies too, like movies like
Scarface and Paid in Full,
stuff like that. I like those. Those are interesting. But I really like I like Wolf of Wall Street, like The Big Short. Like it's a lot of different movies I like, but if I had to name one, it would definitely just be Coach Carter. I just like the different, you know, mix of people in there, you know, black and brown community,
a new principal school in the hood, and they worked themselves up. I think they lost in the championship to Ty Crane, but still, it's just a great movie that resonated with me.
Got you, got you. My next one, your top 5 books.
This is cliche, but I would just say Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. My bad, not Think and Grow Rich. Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Because that was the first book that I actually spent some time with. I actually used to be at work on my computer, and my first year out of graduating college, I had a full-time job. They just kind of gave me a position. I didn't really have that many duties, so I would sit and play Rich Dad Poor Dad on YouTube for free and listen to it in my headphones, and I'll be taking notes on Word document, acting like I was working. And that was one of the first things that I was able to kind of get into this love and passion for financial literacy once I listened to that book. And then the next one was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
It's crazy. I didn't get on like I got Think and Grow Rich right now. I got to start reading that. But Rich Dad Poor Dad, I've had this book. I got it from my economics teacher about I want to say like 13, 14 years ago, and I read it at the time, but it didn't resonate with me at that time. But over these years, I've been hearing a lot about it. So I just consistently read that book because I'm like, it has a lot of gems in there, and that's one of the greatest books that I've read. Like you said, that's one of the great books, and it teaches about financial literacy. It teaches about having assets, and it teaches about how you should have your money work for you instead of the other way around. So
You want to know an interesting story now that you say that?
Vacation destination, like 5 places you want to travel to.
Hey, hold on. I wanted to go back to that book question, right? Something very interesting that you got me thinking. One time, probably in high school, after church, I went to after church. You go to the fellowship hall and talk and chill with your friends, and there were a bunch of books on the table and a sign that said free books. And I lie to you not, the book that I picked up was called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and I took it home, but I never read it. And then later on, 4 years later, once I was listening to it, and then I found it at home, and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. This is the book. Out of all the books, God had me pick up this book. I didn't read it, but it was the first book that kind of put me on this journey.
And that's how I feel like the same way. Like like I said, I had this book for like 13, 14 years now. It's my economic. It was I think he gave it to me to just like read, and I ended up just taking it, not reading it that year. But I just kept it. So it was like, it's crazy. I'm like, damn. I was like, okay, I like this. So I eventually started reading it, and they like a lot of stuff in that book resonated with me, and I applied it to my life as well. But travel destinations. You say you want to retire. Yeah, you say you want to retire early. Where's the first place you would go if you gonna retire?
If I had to retire tomorrow, I would probably go to Greece. It's something about being around water. I like water, so Greece, Turks and Caicos, Maldives. I definitely want to go to Africa, go back to the motherland. I don't want to go in the trenches of Africa, but I want to go develop a city in Africa, probably Kenya or something like that, and just experience that. I want to go to Tokyo in Japan. I'm real big on islands. I love Jamaica. I've only been out the country twice. I used to be scared to leave the country, but I've been in Cancun and Jamaica. I love Jamaica. I'm going back in December. But I really want to go places that aren't, everybody goes or you see on Instagram on the Explore page. Like, this world is huge. I want to go. Like, I love when I see somebody on Instagram and I click their location and they like somewhere on some remote island in the country I never heard of. Like, I want to do stuff like that. I do need to start building on my list, but top 3, I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Maldives, and I want to go to Turks and Caicos. I just like water.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I'm like the same way. Those are like Greece is on top of my list as well. Top 5 visit in DC.
Top 5 places to visit in DC. So I used to love going out. Like I said, I used to love going out, going to happy hour, going to brunch, all of that stuff, especially when I was single. I got tired of all the pending 200 plus transactions and being drunk, waking up hungover the next days and stuff like that, dating and all that stuff. But if anybody's in DC, I would definitely say you need to go to U Street Go to U Street for brunch or on a Friday, Saturday night. That's definitely an experience. I like going down Georgetown. Georgetown is nice. You can go shopping, you go to the movies, you go on the waterfront. It's a nice place to go walk. Navy Yard. I'm not really like baseball, but a Nats game in the summertime, like a cool summer day, that's a real good experience in the evening. Especially when the Nats were good. It's just a different vibe. The National Mall. It's nothing like just taking a walk on a National Mall or actually getting the scooters and riding around, especially at nighttime. That's a dope free date that somebody can do. And then one place I really want to go, I haven't been, and I'm just gonna name it because I know I'm gonna love it when I go, is the African American History Museum. I haven't gone. When it first opened, it was crazy booked, and it's still always crazy booked. You got to reserve tickets same day. But that's something I plan on doing this year as well.
Most definitely. I'm gonna have to check out all those spots when I head out to DC for sure.
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely
you
hit
should
me up. I
get
got
some brunch or the nightlife, and then well, my last
I got
question
you.
for this segment, for sure, for sure. What are your top 5 food spots in DC?
All right, it's funny you said that. So I had a prior to the pandemic, one thing I started a marketing company. It was mainly for it's called DMV's Best. All the dope places to go in DMV. I got the idea. I went to Houston back in 2016 for my friend's birthday. We had no idea what to do, and the bartender was like, "Go on this website," and it literally had everything to do in DC. I mean, in Houston. So I said, DC needs something like this. So I ended up making a website. I started making affiliate relationships with different bars and restaurants. Then the pandemic hit, shut everything down. I kind of pivoted away from it. Um, Top 5 places to eat. All right, for brunch, if you want a brunch day party, you got to go to Park at 14th. That is an experience. Great music, great food, great people, great vibes. Um, I like L'Oreal Plaza. I like Mexican food. L'Oreal Plaza, they have like frozen drinks, happy hour specials, good like Mexican food. Um, wow, top 5 places to go. A place called King Street Oyster Bar. They got a nice, great happy hour, cheap drinks, cheap food, good vibes. A lot of good places shut down. There's a lot of different clubs and stuff, but like a lot of like the authentic spots that DC had closed down during the pandemic. But there's so much infrastructure and new restaurants and new things being built up every day in DC. There's so many different
Yeah,
restaurants, a lot of gentrification happening as well. So there's a lot more culture and stuff coming to DC. But you definitely got that's the thing. DC doesn't have like a place like you know how like if you go to Chicago, you go to like Harold's, or you get pizza, or like if you go to Philly, you get a cheesesteak. You go to New Orleans,
yeah.
you're like, but
You
DC
gum Creole food.
Creole food. Like DC doesn't have like people say go to like Ben's Chili Bowl. Like that's a DC staple, but like that's not like somewhere I haven't been there in years. Like probably went there on a field trip. So like you definitely gotta go to carry out. You gotta go to a carry out, get mumbo sauce, wings and fries. Um and then like it's a lot of mom and pop shops that sell good food too, like breakfast spots, stuff like that. And it's like chain restaurants, but I hope that answers your question. DC's it's nothing to do here but go out to eat. But there's like no
For sure, for sure.
there's no one place you gotta go. Like that's what's weird about DC.
For sure, for sure. It's crazy that you brought up how like you had the idea with things to do, and like when the Houston thing, I had the same idea. Like instead of just doing it for DC, figure out how you can do it for every city. Because that's what I was thinking too. I was like, whenever you travel somewhere, like I wonder what's there to do tonight. And I was like thinking of an app. You said the website. I was thinking of an app where you just pull up the app in the city you're in, like these are the things to do, or like the app's called What to Do Tonight or some shit like that, and it pops up like things to do, like if you want to go partying, go to these locations. If you want to go to a restaurant, go to these locations, or if you just want to have a chill night, go over here. So that is a great idea to work on.
Yeah, I was actually trying to work on the process of building the app too, and I was really like infatuated with it. And then when everything shut down, I had like a database of like over probably 1,000 different places to go, like Excel spreadsheet that I uploaded on a website and all that stuff. I built it over like 3-4 months prior, like way before the pandemic, and then it all shut down. Places started closing. I said I can't keep up with all the closings. A lot of the good spots that closed down, black-owned spots, places that've been open for years shut down during the pandemic, clubs, lounges, all that stuff. And I just say, you know what, I'm gonna come back to it because what I want to do with that, once I learn how to run ads, I want to go back to some of these same companies and then start running ads for them.
Hmm. I feel that we're gonna make it work. I feel like we're gonna do a lot of business together and a lot of networking and a lot of stuff. 'Cause like I said, I'm gonna use I need your help when it comes to the Turo. I know you got the courses at Hire Car as well as the vending machines and a little more than the dropship. I'd barely dropped my merch for the podcast, I think, earlier this month, but trying to build sales with that, especially like you said, learning how to do ads, because that's when it comes. That's the big thing. That's how you generate real passive income, doing ads for yourself as well as doing ads for different companies. Because everybody needs ad marketing on their team or even digital creation of some sort.
Yeah, every business should have ads, no matter what business you're in. You should have some type of ads.
Yeah, always running. We on down to the finale. If you had the opportunity to see your future, would you?
If I had the opportunity to see my future, would I? Yeah, definitely. If I could open up a door and see my future right now, I would know what I need to work on now to either change where I'm at or just give me, I guess, a reassurance of I'm doing the right things to get to where I'm at. So yeah, I would.
Got you. What kind of impact do you want to make on the world?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. I want to leave a lasting impact on the world. I don't do this for me. I do it for people, for helping people. I think my parents, just what they instilled in me, like growing up, I saw my mom like help so many people. My dad generally helped so many people. And I think that's where I ask God all the time, reveal to me my purpose or make sure whatever I'm doing is aligning to my purpose. And I firmly believe my purpose in life is to help as many people as I can. And I'm thinking God is having me do this with financial literacy. So create an impact, so impact as many families as I can pertaining to financial literacy.
Got you. I love that answer. And my last and final question: where can my audience find you?
You guys, the best way to find me is on Instagram. That's my social media of choice. You can find me at WAVY TECH LLC. That's Wavy Tech LLC on Instagram. If you follow me, I promise you I'll follow you back. You can schedule free consultations to talk to me about pretty much anything that you're interested in. And yeah, we can connect. I look forward to connecting with you all. I believe iron sharpens iron, so we can definitely connect and get to work.
Most definitely, man. I want to thank you and appreciate you coming on the show, educating us about your journey, educating us about your experiences when it came to financial literacy and everything that you learned, dropping the knowledge on us when it comes to using Turo, getting the rental cars out there, getting the Airbnb, creating that passive income and creating that generational wealth for yourself, doing the little things of you have to learn and really finding out what is your purpose in life. Don't think working a 9 to 5 all the time is your purpose, even though you said like 9 to 5preneur is good, but it's like have that plan for your exit so you can retire early versus being there for the next 30 or 40 years.
Exactly. And I want to thank you again, brother, for inviting me to your show. I hope I was able to drop some gems and add some value to you and your purpose and your brand as well.
Oh man, you most definitely did. It's my favorite show to date, honestly. So
thank you.
I appreciate you, man. I'll be keeping in touch.
All right, cool. Definitely. Yeah. And we can do this again. We can run it back sometime if you want, check in and see part 2, passive income part 2.
Yeah, most definitely. We are gonna do a part 2. Part 2 might we're probably gonna get it on Zoom.
I bet. All right, well, I appreciate you, bro. Be safe. Stay blessed, man. Thank you.